What's good, y'all? It's your boy Ross back at again with another video. So we're going to check out 10 changes Vince McMahon hates about new WWE. If Vince McMahon was in control, there would be a few things that we would not see on WWE television, but since he's not in control and he's not in the company, has nothing to do with the company, all he can do is watch from afar. I did hear rumors that Vince was trying to potentially buy back WWE from TKO, and those rumors were shut down fairly quickly because TKO, I don't think they released an official statement, but somebody from inside WWE or TKO themselves, they had said pretty much, well, someone heard them say it's not happening. They're not selling WWE back to Vince, so this is just what it is, and Vince is just going to have to watch in horror as his company that once was what it was is now under the control of TKO. And I ain't gonna lie to you, some of the things that probably Vince was not the biggest fan of, or isn't the biggest fan of, I think the fans are starting to feel the same way as well. Let's check out some of these things. Appreciate all love, support. Let's get right into it, bro.
Would hate about the new WWE. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 10. Ring sponsors.
Yep.
And with modern day WWE, the ring mats are filled with sponsors. At WrestleMania 41, there were more logos than clear canvas in the ring, and this has led to fans believing that WWE have gone way too far with advertisements. The ring canvas was previously sacred in WWE, and it was Vince McMahon who strongly believed that sponsors being plastered on the ring canvas was a terrible idea. According to Kevin Nash on the Click This podcast, McMahon once turned down a lucrative sponsorship deal with Budweiser for pay-per-view events. McMahon was evidently protective of how the ring mat looked, and Michael Cole even stated that McMahon would have never allowed the WWE mat to look how it does currently. According to Cole, McMahon truly believed that the mat was sacred, and no amount of money could influence him to change his mind.
Yep.
Number 9.
That went out the door quickly. They basically are ran like UFC. UFC has so many sponsorships on their ring mats. That's basically what it is. Literally, they're taking the UFC formula and applying it to WWE. That's it. And at first, it didn't bother me because it was only like Prime. But then it started to, get to the point where you see nothing but advertisements everywhere, and it just gives off the vibes of corporatization. It doesn't give off the vibes of something that is, genuine for the fans, if you can say that. Granted, I mean, that's how boys make their money, so I'm not here to say how they should or shouldn't make their money. They're going to do what they want. But I guess because wrestling has never really had that for WWE, to see it now prevalent, it is kind of it's an eyesore, I guess you can say. It doesn't take away from the match, but it adds to the overall money hungriness that TKO has. So
5-match PLEs. One of the most common trends of the Triple H era of WWE is a 5-match card format for PLEs. Since taking over, Triple H has predominantly booked most shows outside of SummerSlam and WrestleMania to have only 5 matches. This has led to vast criticism from fans, as a lot of key matches are left off the show completely, and a strong portion of the show is filled with commercials and filler segments. This is no doubt a TKO call, and it will be the TKO executives who are putting together brand deals for PLEs, and when the show is planned out, the brand deals will naturally take priority. Vince McMahon loved to vary his PLE match cards, with sometimes some B-level events pushing 8 matches. Of course, certain events such as WrestleMania could go on for way too long, but McMahon was never guilty of leaving huge matches off PLE match cards, and he's always known to stack them to make sure they seem worthwhile. Number 8. Post-PLE.
I'm in the middle of that. Me personally, I originally didn't have a problem with the shorter match cards because of how many matches we used to get that was just pointless filler matches that didn't need to be on the show. I'm just being honest with you. Like, I know some people are like, oh, it should be way more matches. Bro, I literally come from an era where they would be like, maybe 7, 8 matches, and most of those matches didn't hit, bro. I'm just keeping it a buck. Most of them didn't hit. So, and a lot of those matches were fucking filler, maybe 5-10 minute matches, if that. What's the point? I'm kind of in the middle. I'm more so glad that there aren't that many PLEs with a lot of matches. I'm cool with 5 to 6. I think the big PLEs like SummerSlam, Survivor Series, or WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, whatever the case. Well, hell, Royal Rumble's not gonna be one of those situations. But the big pay-per-views should have more matches. They should. They should have at least 6-7 matches or whatever the case may be. But I feel like just the B-level pay-per-views or PLEs, I think they should stay, for me personally, at the 5 matches mark. Granted, the flip side of that and why I'm kind of on the split decision is because of the ads. We don't really, you would think we would get more time with the matches, which we do, but more of the time is spent on the advertisement, not as much as the matches. But that's a TKO thing. So if anything, maybe adding another one would be cool, but I don't want them to just add matches for the sake of just doing it because you want to, stretch out the card. No, we don't need a long wrestling PLE for every event. I think some of them need it and some of them don't. So, but that's just personal preference on my end.
Press conferences. Whilst Vince McMahon experimented with post-event press conferences from time to time, they were always formatted in a certain way. They were always used to further storylines on the show and existed to get characters over. Unfortunately, this isn't the case in the TKO era. WWE holds a press conference for every major event, and they're often a confusing mess. Certain wrestlers appear completely in character, whilst other wrestlers completely break kayfabe. It's a complete amalgamation of kayfabe and reality, and it doesn't work in this kind of setting. If you want to present a sports-type press conference, then commit to the idea and make sure that everyone is on the same page. If McMahon saw wrestlers breaking kayfabe minutes after a key angle, he would lose his mind, and this is one of the things that fans continue to call out WWE for.
Yeah, WWE's steadily heading to, even though kayfabe has been broken for a long time, they're exposing it even more. And yeah, I could definitely see Vince not wanting to do press conferences like that, because it's just like, wait a minute, this guy just said he hate this person, had a crazy match, and now he's over here talking about what a great job him and his opponent did in the ring. Like, yeah.
One of the central parts of these press conferences is an appearance from Triple H. Without fail, every single time Triple H tells the media and fans how much money the event made and how they broke the record books by delivering a lucrative gate. Fans simply don't want to hear this. They don't want to hear how much money the company is making, especially in an era where ticket prices are through the roof. It's a bizarre trend that McMahon instantly would put a stop to. Number 7, commentary. Vince McMahon loved to micromanage his commentary teams into an oblivion. Numerous commentators quit WWE over McMahon's managerial.
It is the word, but the micromanage, I think, that's being nice to Vince. Vince, nah, bro. He wanted to control what you heard, and it got to the point where it just became just horrible to listen to.
Real style, and he was prone to scream at them into their headset and give them direct verbal instructions that they needed to follow 100%. Triple H and TKO have erased this entirely. The WWE commentary teams are given freedom to call the show, and this has completely transformed the way commentary is delivered. Michael Cole has a new lease of life, and he's even spoken about how happy he is working with Triple H. Cole isn't just happy in his role, he's having the time of his life. For years, Cole was shackled by McMahon, but the chains are truly off in this new era. McMahon would loathe this style of commentary, and McMahon would probably have a nervous breakdown if he could see Cole standing up and yeeting every Monday night.
And honestly, I love it. That's a really good thing that they've allowed the announcers to just announce and be more free, be more fluid in what they say and how they conduct themselves. They don't go overboard. They come off as real human beings. I appreciate that. So.
Number 6, less live events. A TKO took one look at the WWE business model and decided that live events should be vastly reduced. TKO believed that running talent into the ground and making them wrestle multiple times a week had little benefit to anyone, and it wasn't bringing in the financial rewards people would expect. In 2025, live events are virtually a thing of the past. WWE runs just a handful of live events per calendar year, and they tend to focus on big money international tours. Whilst this is great for the talent, the ticket prices for these events, particularly the international shows, are just insanely high. With that being said, most of these shows are selling out, so TKO's business model is clearly working. Vince McMahon was a strong believer in his established live event model. He would insist that live events occur every single weekend, and this led to talent being burnt out and injuries becoming more common. Let's face it, McMahon was a workaholic and he lived and breathed WWE, and he definitely wanted this mindset for his talent. You would hope that McMahon would take a look at the way WWE has been operating, especially in terms of live events, and realize that this is the way forward. However, if McMahon was still running WWE without TKO's involvement, then it's likely that archaic live event schedules would remain in place.
It would
Number
still
5,
be here.
production changes. Vince McMahon was very much stuck in his ways when it came to the WWE's production style. The WWE presentation always looked the same. They would use the same camera angles and everything would be formulaic in nature. This was mainly down to McMahon and Kevin Dunn, as these two names didn't believe that any change was needed, despite fans crying out for WWE to evolve the way the shows looked. It was common under Vince McMahon for one single angle or moment to have a dozen camera cuts, whereas the new era, continuous long shots are common, and WWE aren't afraid to try something new and unique. This was one of the main focuses of Triple H, and he's realized that the show needed to evolve, and with Raw being on Netflix, the old way of presenting the flagship show would have looked dated and obsolete. McMahon loved grand and scale when it came to certain elements of the WWE presentation. Whilst he was definitely moving away from things such as eccentric stages during his final few years in charge, he always knew the importance of making a show stand out in terms of staging and graphics. This sadly isn't the case anymore. Every single show outside of WrestleMania looks exactly the same, and WWE now even changes the staging around to accommodate more fans. The goal for WWE and TKO is strictly dollars and cents. Outside of shows such as WrestleMania, the way the show looks in terms of staging is virtually a non-factor, and TKO would probably remove the stage entirely and just use a lazy black curtain if it meant that they could cram in more fans into the arena. Number 4.
Yeah, pretty much. The only positives, like you said, is the camera angles and what they do with the cameras, and they've started using camera drones, like drone shots. I love that. I love the continuous one shots. I love that. That is so, when Triple H started doing that, it just gives you a fresh live feel. Like everything's just one shot. They're talking to someone, and then, or you see someone pull up in the back and the camera just follows them the entire way through. I love that. I love the drone shots showing the arena. I love the different angles that they have in the matches. It gives it a fresh look. So I can appreciate that. The staging, of course, I mean, honestly, it's been a problem in WWE, especially even now. Even when Vince was around, it just wasn't too much life with the staging of some of these events, which I wish they would bring back, because I feel like a lot of events need the proper staging to give the vibe of importance, instead of it just kind of looking like the same set from Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, just in a different arena.
4. Theme songs. A former WWE chairman, Vince McMahon, often took a hands-on approach with WWE theme songs. McMahon often cared deeply about the first impression, and if a theme song wasn't working, he knew it needed to change. There have been countless stories over the years of McMahon insisting that WWE got a specific theme song just right. Even when Jim Johnson stopped working with WWE, McMahon was still putting considerable effort into making sure the themes worked for each respective talent. Unfortunately, the current theme songs on WWE programming have resulted in scathing feedback from fans. Virtually all theme songs produced by Def Rebels sound exactly the same, and outside of licensed songs or songs produced for the main eventers, none of the songs manage to stand out. WWE and TKO don't seem to care about the theme songs, as there's no love or passion in any of the tracks. They just seem randomly assigned just so every wrestler has their own theme. It's sheer laziness, and there's zero excuse as to why the theme songs have shown little to no improvement despite years of fans complaining. Number 3.
And I heard Metro Boomin, he had tweeted that he wanted to produce some wrestlers like theme songs. That's like a dream of his to be able to do that. So WWE and Metro Boomin, they're cool with each other. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually do allow Metro Boomin to produce some of these wrestlers' theme songs to see how that would go. But I'm pretty sure TKO wouldn't have no problem. TKO and WWE wouldn't have no problem with doing that. It's just the logistics of that happening and how things would be broken down. But we'll see if that happens. I mean, they can't do no worse than what Death Rebel's been doing. So
3 banned words. Vince McMahon was prone to making his talent stick to set rules and regulations. This was definitely the case when it came to certain words. McMahon wouldn't allow his wrestlers or commentators to say certain words, and if they did utter these infamous words, then McMahon would often be enraged. These banned words range from wrestling to belt, and most of the words stem from McMahon's bizarre ideology that distancing WWE from being a wrestling company was going to be appealing to more fans. When Triple H took over creative, these banned words would be removed entirely. Wrestling is mentioned multiple times in a single show, and the talent are no longer walking on eggshells when it comes to the words that come out of their mouths. Number 2, breaking kayfabe. And there's no doubt that even in the old era of WWE, Vince McMahon liked to break kayfabe from time to time. In fact, he basically ushered in the Attitude Era back in 1997 by a kayfabe-shattering promo that rocked the pro wrestling industry. However, in 2025, breaking kayfabe has never been more common in WWE, and it occurs virtually every week. WWE are obsessed with reminding fans that the show is a scripted presentation.
Don't know
what
why.
they're seeing is totally fictional. This was seen on the Raw and the Netflix premiere, as the opening video package saw Triple H talk about work shoots and even baby faces and heels. Wrestlers such as The Rock break kayfabe minutes after the show, and it's a weird business direction that has left fans puzzled. This obsession with reminding fans that the product is scripted has zero benefit. It's not increasing revenue in any way, it's not introducing new fans to the product. All it's doing is causing controversy and making established fans realize that maybe WWE and TKO are ashamed that they present a scripted product. And
I don't know why. I guess, I don't know. Even with the whole Netflix show that they're about to come out with, talking about, the creation of some of these shows and what goes on in the writer's room, I don't think that should be a thing. I think you want to keep some of the mystery. You want to keep some of that intrigue behind the curtain because it gives the speculation. It creates the speculation of what's real and what's not. And I think it just, in my opinion, even though we know kayfabe is dead for the most part, it's cool when wrestlers and certain ideas within companies are, given that sense of, well, maybe this is real, because that's when you're more invested. It's not, but is it though? I think that's more impressive, to be able to blur the lines of what's real and what's not in today's time. If you can do it right and sell it, people will buy into it. But once you start opening up the door of, the press conferences after a crazy feud in a match, now you're just talking so highly of the person you was just trying to murder. I don't know. It kind of throws it off. So.
And number 1, the higher power. Triple H runs WWE creative, but he still takes executive orders from names in TKO. The idea of Vince McMahon running WWE whilst taking orders from names in TKO is crazy to even think about. Especially in the final few years of McMahon in charge, a lot of his ideas were outlandish in nature, and the way he ran the product led to fans leaving the product behind, and the talent being disgruntled and unhappy. TKO simply wouldn't have allowed McMahon to operate in this way, and McMahon would have had a meltdown if TKO was trying to control how he was operating in any way, shape or form. Earlier this year, The Rock revealed that Ari Emanuel, who acts as the director of TKO, phoned him and asked him to help boost ticket sales for Elimination Chamber.
Which
if
he didn't
McMahon
have to.
found out that a director had gone directly to a board member, and a former WWE star at that, to ask for assistance in this capacity, he would have been livid. Ultimately, it would have taken a matter of months for the relationship between McMahon and TKO to fall apart. McMahon would have likely put on a brave face, but he would have been either forced out of his role or he would have had to walk away. Knowing what we know about McMahon, the latter seems extremely unlikely, and we still may have ended up with Triple H running WWE creative just a little later than originally intended. But there you have it, folks.
I mean, they kicked him out the door because of the whole allegation stuff. They gave him the boot. Yeah. Like what? They are all about making money, even with Vince. And if Vince was producing some hot garbage, then guess what? If they would have seen fans not showing up, they definitely, hey, Vince, you got to go, bro. Before, it was be all, end all by Vince. Nothing else. Didn't matter who said what. It was only going to be what Vince wanted to do. Now, doesn't matter Triple H is booking these shows. They clearly, if they feel like it's not going in the right direction or they're not seeing the return they want to see, they will start trying to make suggestions on what should be changed, what should be done. And honestly, I think there should be a balance, but I think it should be up to the person that's booking the show because they're the ones watching it. These TKO execs, they're not really watching the show like that. They're watching their bottom line. And as long as the bottom line is staying where it needs to be or increasing, they're not watching the show. So they don't really give a damn. They'll just call out some popular names that they think is going to generate more money. So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, Triple H, he's in control of the show, but is he really in control when it comes down to what needs to be done for the show? And if TKO feels like something can be done better? I'm pretty sure y'all can answer that yourselves. But hey, comment down below. Let me know some other wrestling related videos you guys want me to check out. I definitely will. I appreciate all the love and support you guys showing on the channel. Road to 150K. Appreciate y'all kicking with me. See y'all in the next one. Peace.